Peace. Salute, salute, salute to the good family. Peace and love, good people. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. We are live. I hope everybody's doing well. Praying that everybody had a good week, right? Always happy and excited to come through and check in with the good fam. You know what I mean? Check in on everyone, see how you guys are doing, and have some interesting conversation, right? Which I definitely have on deck for us to tap in a little bit into today. Some things that I found to be interesting, some things that I have been peeping the scene on over the past week or whatever have you. So I'm excited to get into a little bit of that. I definitely don't intend for this to be a long-winded live, but of course it's worthy of discussion. Our particular dialogue today, and just doing some analysis on the current wave that's going on that I found that would be very interesting for us to tap into, right? So before we do that, of course, you guys know how I do. I have to check in with the good people, right? See how you guys are doing and give out my salutations as the good family makes their way in. Once again, blessings to everybody. Let's see who we have coming up in here so far. I like to start things off right. Salute to you guys. Let's see who we got on deck today. Peace to the king, Devin in the building. The first one up on deck, 10 toes. Infinite blessings to the king, Devin. Right? He says, peace, sugar free, and the chat. Peace to you as well, king. Thank you so much for stopping through. I hope that you're well. Hope that you've been well over the week. Salute to you. Always wonderful to see you, King Devin. We got my twin, Daryl Anderson, on deck as well. Infinite blessings to the king, Daryl. Always happy to see my twin. He says, salute to the beautiful queen, aka my twin, Sugar Free. Salute to the rest of the kings and the queens in the chat. Infinite blessings to the lovely king, Daryl, my twin. I hope you have been well, Daryl. Lovely to see you. Yes, get them nines all the way up. Can you guys hear me okay? Put a 9 in the chat if you guys can hear me. Put some 9s up in the chat. Let me know that I am good and all is audible for you guys. Infinite blessings to my twin. You already know what it is, king. Salute to my queen, Mama Love, in the building. Hey, Queen Mama Love. She says, Sunday cooking with the warrior queen. Blessings, family. Infinite blessings to my Mama Love. Big stepping as usual with the radiance and the magnanimous energy. Infinite blessings to you, Mama Love. Always happy to see you. Sending big, 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 big air hugs your way. I hope that all is well with you. We got the king Roll Tide on deck. Salute to the tide. Infinite blessings to the king Tide, who says sugar free, right? And he gave me some roses and he's saluting the chat. Thank you so much, King Tide. Lovely to see you, right? My Mama Love gave me some 9s. I am glad. Thank you. Thank you. That all is audible and intelligible for the good family. Always happy to know that we are in good business. Oh my goodness, hold up. We got the number one comrade, Big stepping in the building. Salute to the king and the coach, Hudson, in the building, showing love 10 toes. As always, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, my good comrade says, salute to the queen of boxing media, my number one comrade, SugarFreeMars. Take your time, sister. Infinite blessings to my number one comrade. By the way, comrade, I definitely got your email, right? I have yet to reply. Crazy enough, that's the email that, I sent the other email to. I'm not sure why you didn't get that, but I'll definitely respond. I'll just go ahead and respond to that, what I had initially wrote to you, the one that you didn't get, right? But yeah, that's the email that I had on deck, just to let you know. But definitely expect an email. Probably when I'm through with this live, I'll definitely email you back. Right? So infinite blessings to my comrade. Always lovely to see you. Thank you so much for pulling up on me. Infinite blessings to the king, Snoopy, in the building. What's up, Snoop? He says, dream team. You already know how we stepping over here. You know how we stepping, king. Infinite blessings to the king, Snoop. Lovely to see you. We got the king, Judd, in the building. 10 toes. Infinite love and light and energy to the King Jit. Always wonderful with his radiance and his energy. Lovely to see you, King. He says, salute to the great warrior queen. I appreciate that so much, King. Thank you so much for joining. I'm always kind of speechless when I see the good family coming in and showing love. I appreciate it. I really do. Salute to the King Jut. I see you. We have Greg in the building. Salute to you, Greg. He says, hello. Hello to you as well. Thank you for swinging through. It's definitely much, much appreciated. The Todd gave me some nines. The Javani gave me some nines. The Snoop gave me, okay, you guys, everything is audible. I'm glad. Oh my goodness. Hold up. The King, Stephen X, is in the building, ladies and gentlemen. My brother, my good brother, the King, as I call him, simply King. We don't need to add anything else to that. King is his name. Salute to the King, Stephen X. He says, peace be upon you, Queen. Infinite blessings, and looking forward to your message to the people. We are all ears. Thank you so much, King. Lovely to see you. Lovely to see you. Definitely some interesting stuff I want to tap into today, as I'm sure it's been on your minds as well, right? Because, the good family has been, talking about this particular subject over the past week. So yeah, definitely happy to have you in the building, on deck for some cooking. Lovely to see you. Oh my goodness, the beautiful Empress Emma is in the building. Hey, Empress. She says, much love and infinite abundance. Some hearts and some nines. Come on with the synergy, sis. Okay, yes. Yes, with the energy. I definitely felt that. I received that. And infinite abundance right back to you, beautiful Empress. Lovely to see you as always. Thank you so much for rolling through. Oh, wow, we got the King Ob Jones in the building, who says, salute Mars and chat. Infinite salute, infinite blessings to you, King Ob. Lovely to see you, right? So yes, as the good family makes their way in, I guess we could begin divulging some thoughts that I had concerning, of course, some news, some major news, I mean, and my, opinion and view, right, as to what's going on in the current landscape in boxing, ladies and gentlemen. Are these people mad or not with this Devin? I just don't. It's been very, very peculiar, right? To hear the whisperings that's been going around, right? The little shade, thrown here and there. That I have been coming across, right? Of course, I do not circulate on sassy ass panels or sassy ass channels at all, right? But of course, I do get the reverberations that come across and trickle down the timeline, every once and again on Twitter, right? The wild, wild west that is called these Twitter streets and stuff like that, and just the overall boxing social media landscape, I guess. And I have gotten some trickle down residual sentiments that I found to be interesting regarding the response to, some major news that was broke this week, right? Only a few days ago. What's interesting to me is that the lore that is going around in these boxing streets, brothers and sisters, as we all know, right? Over the past few days, really, right? Has interestingly been centered around the idea that the young King Devin is somehow, disservicing the sport of boxing right now. Is that how the sentiment is being perceived? That his move to boxing on ZUFFA, right, is a disservice. Somehow he is not servicing the boxing market as a whole, or what we perceive to deem the, just the landscape and the trajectory of boxing. This move that he is making is somehow antithetical to some type of progress that these particular people with this mindset have in their minds. Can somebody help me comprehend this, brothers and sisters? Why are they talking like this is like some type of a gripe to hold, this venture that Devin has the gall and the audacity, to entertain a new business venture for himself? How is this in any way disservicing anything or anyone? A lot of questions came to my mind, brothers and sisters, that this man is somehow foregoing, in other words, right? By this new deal and signing with ZUFA, in their minds, the young king is somehow foregoing some level of integrity. He's somehow foregoing his will, his ambition as a fighter, and somehow along the way losing sight of some level of purpose that they deem to be, at a loss now that he has signed on to this particular venture. What's up with this childishness, brothers and sisters? It's just, the inanity is on a level that can't even be reached on a mental level. Like, I can't even follow how far off the inanity has gone at this point, brothers and sisters. I gotta keep it a buck. What are these people on? Like, what's really the ground level here? You know what I'm saying? What's at the root of this? Where are these roots tied to? It's just diabolical to me. So, as we know, the signing of this deal that Devin did, is causing all types of stirs among the sassy, fan base. That is, the people who have a speculatory disposition on everything that Devin does, right? So that he signed with ZUFA on what the beautiful King BF had shared with us a little bit earlier, before the news was made official, that stood to be a very lucrative deal. And of course, the confirmation came out on what BF was disclosing. And then we got the official confirmation that the deal was solidified with ZUFA, right? Very lucrative global deal. What is wrong with that, brothers and sisters? What's wrong with that? Anybody know what the problem is, or what the root cause of all of this lamenting that's going on could be, brothers and sisters? It's absolutely diabolical to me. And upon seeing this and viewing this, I couldn't help, like much of the good family here today, right, who had peak game to this folly that's going on, the folly of these false emotions that these people seem to be having and spewing everywhere. I couldn't help but be curious as to what the frenzy was all about. I'm still curious as to what the frenzy is all about, real talk. You know what I mean? Which is what led me to name today's discourse, So What? So what? Yes, Devin made the move to sign to ZUFA. And what the fuck is the problem, brothers and sisters? What is that? What's the issue? So the hell what? I didn't hear a fraction of any complaints or lamentations going around when goddamn Edward Belonga signed. I didn't hear any of this when Richard Hitchinson just signed, which they did, about over the past week or whatever have you. There were no lamentations going around here. Nobody throwing shoes at the wall and throwing chairs across the room because they had signed. Nobody said a goddamn thing when Connor signed a huge ass goddamn deal to fight somebody that the young king already washed up like 3 years ago. You know what I mean? I didn't hear nobody screaming and complaining when Connor Ben signed that deal, the $15 million deal to fight some damn leftovers of the young king. What's going on? What's the problem here that young king is embarking on, this particular venture, the most lucrative of his career, from what it seems, right? From what the beautiful King BF had disclosed to us, throughout the week. Okay. Crazy work. Crazy, diabolical work. The laments that I am hearing everywhere you turn, you see some type of shade, little shade here, a little shade there, being thrown, or people just having this buzzing energy around this as if he ought not to be, entertaining a venture outside of what the normal parameters had provided. It's like it's like Devin isn't allowed, in other words, right, to entertain other options for himself that would allow him to expand and build upon what he already began. And I wanted to tap into that very perspective with you guys because, the whisperings are diabolical. What are these whisperings about? We're seeing signs of people being uncomfortable. There's a discomfort permeating about in these boxing streets, brothers and sisters. I know y'all seen it too, right? People are shifting in their seats, making, afraid to make eye contact out here, uncomfortable about the dialogue. I'm saying there's a very wayward, topsy-turvy energy going on. Like, well, what is he doing? There's also a low-key sense of entitlement to Devin's moves and entitlement to his flexibility. It's like these particular people of this mindset that is want to and need to have a thumb on this man's moves for whatever reason. It's very, very curious, brothers and sisters. Is it not? I mean, let's just think about it this way. This is the man that the people in this goddamn peanut gallery who are out here complaining and chiming in all of a sudden on his business and what he ought not to do and what he should do and why he shouldn't, venture out into new territory, spread his wings, right? These are the same people that was telling us that goddamn Devin ain't worth a damn. Facts or no? The very people who are out here lamenting endlessly over the past however many days are the very ones that try to discredit Devin's stature in the sport as a whole. It's the same, motherfuckers in the same peanut gallery that are chiming in are the same ones that wanted to convince the world that this man had nothing to offer any of the fighters who we wanted to see him fight, that he was not worthy of getting in the ring with these particular fighters, so forth, etc. Right? It's weird to me. And these are the very people that's making it seem like this new move is somehow going to disparage them. People are, I've seen people looking like they take that, as a personal offense. Like they feel disparaged. Oh, well, how can Devin do that? Now the fights won't get made is the excuse behind why the laments are happening as thoroughly as they are. Oh, well, Devin won't be able to make the fights. Excuse me? You mean the very fights that you said, he didn't do enough for, he didn't prove himself enough for, he didn't testify his love enough to get in the ring with this, that, or the third person? Now you are afraid that the fights will be stifled? Haven't they been stifled this whole goddamn time, brothers and sisters? And not because of his own doing and accord, but because these suckers don't want to get in a ring with him. So going to ZUFFA isn't going to, well, it's going to change some things, but only thing that the ZUFFA move is going to do is expose, really, really expose how deep the cowardice goes in boxing. It's going to do that. I mean, it's already been exposed for us real ones who have been, peeping game and stuff like that, right? But with the gargantuan amounts of money that are on the line with this particular venture that he has in signing with them, right? How lucrative this is for him. Any other fighter that he stands to fight will be the beneficiary of that lucrative deal because they will be extended the opportunity to make, a surplus amount of money well beyond what they would have previously been given. You know what I mean? On other platforms. So it's a very interesting sentiment that I have been picking up on these last few days that I just found very peculiar. Yes, the young king signed a deal with ZUFFA, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, as he goddamn should have. It's I have no quarrel or qualm with the decision to do that. I think he should, do it for his, stay with them as long as he goddamn want. Go ahead and go get your paper. You know what I mean? And do what it is that you need to do. Yes, he signed with ZUFFA. So what? What is this preoccupation with Devin all of a sudden and his motives business-wise? What are these people hung up on, ladies and gentlemen? These people, like I said, are the very ones that are complaining right now who said that Devin was 100% obsolete. They tried to convince themselves and everybody else that would listen. All the sassy goddamn brigade out here. Oh, Devin is obsolete. He doesn't bring value. He's not going to beat this or that person anyway. He doesn't sell, etc., etc. We know the tropes that have been going around here concerning the young king, right? That he holds no viable weight in the sport. essentially is what they have been toting around for as long as they can, right? And we already know it's bullshit, right? But that's the trope that they have been waving around endlessly as it pertains to anything concerning DHP. So I'm like, well, why the fuck are you so mad then? If he's obsolete, why are your goddamn panties all in the damn bunch? I thought, he had no value, no selling power. He had no star power. Why are these people that want to deem him so badly as insignificant making him the centerpiece of their world now? Off of the back of this business deal. It's strange to me. It's strange as hell to me, you guys. And I have heard no rationale, that could explain these sentiments that these people have had. And of course, when I sat in observation of what I was seeing, to me, it was yet another obvious denotation, brothers and sisters, that despite what these people want to say about, Devin being hackneyed and banal and irrelevant or whatever have you, despite these claims that these people wave around, ladies and gentlemen, the reality is that the young King Devin is a lifeline to the sport of boxing. I have said that in the past. I will repeat it again. Young King Dev is a lifeline to the sport of boxing. And there are several layers to this understanding, good people. When I say that he is a lifeline to the sport of boxing, Devin services myriad levels within the psyche and the consciousness of this current landscape and this current era of boxing. He services a lot of things at one time that may be unbeknownst to the, let's say, the casual or something like that, but that the people, the suits, and the people who pull the strings are very, very cognizant of, because Devin, I look at him like as a placeholder, right? He has been positioned in a specific role within boxing, and that is the role of a target, right? He is like the aiming board, if you will, like the target board that they can throw the dart on. And at all times, he must remain in view so that they can be extra, extra, extra careful about how he is moving, because the very thing that they fear the most with Dev, the reason why he is so hyper focused upon is because he is a threat to the establishment. Whatever he does and what he is doing within his independence with the DHP brand and the DHP company that he has poses a direct threat, brothers and sisters, to the establishment in and of itself. Oh my goodness, beautiful king. Hey, beautiful king. Love to see you. Happy to see you. Big, big hugs I'm sending to you. Thank you so much for stopping by. He says, hey, beautiful goddess. Hey, beautiful king. Always happy to see my king in the building. Salute to the king, A1 Henry. Also, I see you in the building as I was going on the surge. Okay. Yes. Salute to, what does that say? Althea. Althea. Blessings to you. Thank you so much for joining. Look at beautiful king. Her voice is beautiful. Oh my goodness, beautiful king. When I want to sleep, I put her voice on. Infinite blessings to the beautiful king. Also, Dante just came in the building. I see you as well. Thank you so much for coming, you guys. Makes me smile. Hope you guys are well. But yeah, that's what DHP poses to the establishment, as we know, right? And the conscious ones, the real ones, the good family, are very well privy to this. Okay, so that what Devin is servicing is multifold, and I will tap into that in just a bit. But the denotation is that, like I said, despite what the speaking against. Hey, Caldwell. Hey, look at the King Caldwell in the building. Blessings to the King Caldwell. I see you rolling up through here. Infinite blessings to you, King. Salute. Yes. So despite what these people are saying, Devin Haney is a lifeline, even to his haters. Like, he services so many things at once. It really is insane. And so that's causing, and this is my posit, brothers and sisters, that's the reason why he is so hyper focused upon and so centralized, to where every little thing that he does is not only going to get scrutinized, ladies and gentlemen, but it's a reverberation with whatever he does, upon the fighters, upon his contemporaries, upon the media, right? Upon the independent media. You know what I'm saying? And all of these people who want to contrive and create propaganda around him, so that everything that he does has a side effect, if you will. And so they need him at all times, under observation and surveillance, if that makes sense. Hopefully I'm getting that across coherently. But the people who have been buzzing around this new deal with ZUFFA, as if this undertaking is, catastrophic, what these people are doing inadvertently, brothers and sisters, is, admitting outrightly that there is an unspoken sense of relevance that the young king particularly holds with them, that they maintain about him, which causes them to need Devin Haney around in a particular, he has to play the game. In other words, there's a game that he has to play. And at the center of that game, he needs to stay there so that the body politic can move accordingly. Does that make sense, brothers and sisters? They need him to be positioned in such a way that they can keep tabs on him, right? Because what he does reverberates throughout the entire sport. All of his contemporaries are affected by it, right? All of the suits and the higher ups that Devin Haney is in competition with, real talk, as an independent figure, are going to have to have a response to that reverberation that he causes. Do you understand? So that there's a whole effect that goes on simply, with the moves that man makes. Okay, and so the frenzy is an expression of that. It's like a stone in the water. It causes a ripple. That's what Devin seems to do all the time, because he is a central figure, a central player in the sport of boxing. Okay, and it's necessary to keep him within arm's reach, if you will, because the general body politic is dependent upon that. It moves based on that. That is how they can know how to shut him out. That's how they get to know, by observing him, by keeping the surveillance on him. That's how they know to maneuver around the fighters, his contemporaries. That's how they pander to those fighters to, to try to convince them of why Devin is not worthy and why he should be boxed out, right? That's how they get to these platforms who propagandize DHP, right? Who want to inculcate into their audiences all types of perspectives about DHP. That's how they get to the fan base and alter the disposition of the. You understand what I'm saying? So that so many things are predicated upon Dev, from the higher ups to the fighters themselves to the media outlets, all the way down to the fans. That's the body politic I'm talking about. So that there is a dependency on his placement. However Devin Haney is placed, there's a dependency upon that. And if he is not playing the game, then you get these expressions of frenzy and, outcry and everything else that we see and have seen over the past few days. And of course, over the past few years, ever since, he rose to prominence and started to begin, amassing all of the accolades. We have been seeing it for years, us, conscious boxing fans. Okay. This is just a current, another derivative of that, in my view. So that whether people within the boxing world want to reckon with it or not is of their own accord. But the fact that it exists, brothers and sisters, is what I am speaking to. Okay? That's what I am speaking to. Whether people within boxing want to deal with that or not, being able to have the young King Devin in a place or in some type of position where he can be seen, managed, and accounted for is their priority. They got to see what he is doing, because that's how they get to maneuver and move against his moves. Do you understand? It's like chess. All right. They have to find a way to counter those movements. And so they must keep a strict eye on him at all times, because he's independent, because he has that freedom. It's like, uh-oh, what is he doing? Let's talk against it. Oh, what's this looking like? Let's talk against that. Let's derail. Let's detract. Let's censure him here. Let's lambaste him there. Do you get me? And this type of manipulation, or this type of needing, this type of preoccupation really is the word. This preoccupation that the boxing world seems to have for and with DHP brothers and sisters on every level, on all of these levels that I'm talking about, brings a sense of comfort to them. Having him accounted for in their mind, in their mind's eye, in their brain computer, brings comfort to them. It's an ease to know, okay, well, I can see what Devin is doing, and I have the safety of knowing that I can find some measure to counteract that. Despite his independence, I could always do a counter move. It's a comforting thing to this particular sect of the boxing world, brothers and sisters. And as unconventional as that word may sound, I use the word comfort deliberately and consciously. When I say that, it brings them comfort. Okay, that's the best descriptor that I can use, is the word comfort, to describe how these people seem to feel about having some type of control on how they will throw a blockade in DHP's path. You know what I mean? DHP has served, brothers and sisters, let's keep it a buck, a very particular position in the sport of boxing, particularly as his career began to unfold, as he began to rise and rise further and further along into prominence. Okay, he served a particular position once he began to really solidify himself in the sport. Oh, this is the person that we can make an example of. We can use Devin Haney as a measure of what not to follow, because he is being castigated all the time. This is going to send a message out to the larger boxing, world, which most notably the fighters. They will know not to ever dare to venture off into their independence in this particular way, because, Devin, they will see Devin being made an example of. That's their goal, right? And so they have had their little successes here and there in doing that and putting that message out, but they have likewise been unsuccessful at doing that, because DHP always and constantly sets the standard for themselves. And so they always find a way out of the strongholds, out of the handcuffs, so to speak. And they always find a way, to move accordingly on the chessboard. Do you understand? So when the young king was started to rise to, further and further prominence, this is the position that he held, the what not to do. Don't you dare go along following this young king over here, because this is what will happen, this, that, and the third. I see my good family coming up in here. Nugs, salute to you, Nugs. I see you. Salute to the King Joe. I see you. Drug Free is in the building. Infinite blessings to the king. He says the goddess and the family salute. Blessings to you. Thank you for joining. Big Billow in the building. I see you. I see you. Same old T. Blessings to you. I see the good family rolling up in here. Oh, the King Eric O is in the building. Blessings to the King Eric. Blessings to the pugilist as well in the building. I see you guys. Thank you for popping up. We just cooking on some stuff. But brothers and sisters, the boxing world, in my view, got very comfortable. I go back to that word again. The boxing world got very comfortable with the position that they placed Devin within in their minds, right? And I'm not saying that this entrapment was the end all be all, right? Because of course, Devin Haney has the freedom and the range to do what he needs to do, and he has been moving accordingly. But in their minds, right, they need to find a way to, their freedom is in throwing the impasse and the blockades in his path. Their freedom with DHP is to, by whatever means necessary, deter him from the route that they know he is shooting for and going towards at a particular moment. Okay. So that despite the young king's independence and freedom within his business, he always has to have, um, eyes on the ground, eyes behind him, eyes in front of him at all times, in other words. And he has to do that in a way that no other fighter has to do in the sport of boxing. So that this comfort level that they had in keeping him in such a position is something of note to me. So that the boxing world got very comfortable using him as a placeholder, as aforementioned, using Devin as a scapegoat. They were comfortable seeing him scapegoated in the world of boxing. Okay. Devin Haney became a representation of how one can be as accomplished as they want to be, but only up to the degree that is allowed by the major players. That's the role that he represented. Yes, look at his accomplishments. Yes, he's the youngest undisputed champion. Yes, he's this, that, and the third. Look at his resume, right? The best fighter, within boxing of all the young fighters today. You know what I'm saying? But look what we do. Look how we, divert. Look how we cause him to divert here and there. Look how we, provide these hindrances for him here and there, right? Look how he gets stifled when we shut him out and try to keep him from the table. This, that, and the third, right? So that's an interesting role that Devin Haney has served, in my view. When I was unpacking that, I found that to be absolutely curious and very, very interesting. Especially because even despite these attempts and motives that he is fully aware of, I'm sure DHP is plenty aware of, they stay 10 toes enough to be cognizant of the detractors that are out to stifle and stultify their plans and their movements. And they always act accordingly, right? Which speaks to their savvy as businessmen, which speaks to their prowess as businessmen, right? Bill Haney and the young King Devin. So, we know good and goddamn well, brothers and sisters, in other words, that the corporate figures in boxing loathe and despise DHP's independence. That's not something to, take lightly. We don't state that lightly. The conscious boxing community, that's something that we are very, very well aware of. And it's something that we highlight constantly because it is, it's the parameter, it's the root, it's the bedrock of how he is treated in the sport compared to everybody else, because he is so singular in his position as an independent figure and mover in the sport. And so it's precisely because of that independence that he is loathed, that he is propagandized, that he is targeted, so forth, etc. Okay? They loathe and despise that man's independence. They loathe and despise the self-sufficiency of DHP. But at the same time, even despite that loathing that they have for him, they need him to play the game. They need him at the center of the discourse so that he could serve the role of being made an example of, just in case some other niggas get too hip enough to think, brothers and sisters, that it's okay to go on and seek their own independence out here. That's really what the hell it is when we want to get to the ground level of it. They need the young king to play the game so that he can exert, so that they can exert upon him some measure of control to say to everybody else, don't go doing this because you will be stifled and you will be unsuccessful, right? But there is a fixation and a hyper need, right, to impose upon the freedom and the movement of DHP by presenting whatever blockades possible, whatever contrived barriers, whatever propaganda needs to be, made up and conjured up in the pot, whatever and by whatever means necessary. This is how they exert that imposition that they want to place on him, and they want to do it on a public level. Also, what I found to be interesting is that every attempt made on the part of these suits, good people, that we have seen, that we could account for, all the attempts that we have seen over the years, every attempt made by these suits, these corporate figures or whatever have you, media, everybody that it has conspired within this propaganda move, the aims to stifle that man's mobility, has only led DHP to embark on playing a stronger game of chess, in my view. Like it's not doing anything but sharpening the sword of DHP. You know what I'm saying? It's making them sharp. It's making them, because you can only be sharp when you know that you are a target. Your senses are going to be alerted. You know what I mean? Your sensitivity is going to be heightened because motherfuckers is out to get you in some form, way, or fashion. So not only are the young King Devin and Bill shrewd businessmen, right? But that they are being made even more formidable as businessmen. The prowess is going to 1,000 because of what they have to deal with day in and day out just to be able to fight, just to be able to have a viable fight. Look at all the goddamn tricks and traps and technology these men got to walk through just to solidify some wonderful, notable, legendary fights with the best among them. This is what they have to go through. And so, of course, the byproduct of that, of course, the reaction of that is that they're going to be made ironclad, brothers and sisters, in business, in warriorship, in integrity, in prowess, in consciousness, in everything. So that they only making these animals worse. They making absolute animals out of DHP. Do you understand me? The goddamn legendary Bill Haney is a whole lion out here. He's a lion because he's a father. And he's looking at his boy. He's looking at his beautiful young king. And he's saying, baby boy, I will go to the ends of the earth, 10 toes with you. I will never allow these people to defeat you. And the young king is looking at his father like, yes, young king, I am your reflection out here. I want to be the best at what it is that I do because I'm a reflection of you and my grandfather and my grandfather's grandfather out here. We're going to do this our way. Do you get me? So that, the ironclad spirit is just, I see these beautiful men, these beautiful brothers moving out here. And, I cannot give enough adulation onto them because I see what it is at hand, and just in viewing the scope with Rowley and the whole nonsense that if we want to just pull from that experience over the past, few months or whatever have you. Absolutely diabolical what these men had to go through, brothers and sisters. Diabolical. And so the goal, when we think about it in that context, ladies and gentlemen, the goal for these people to be out here lamenting about the business decision to go chart new territory. Why these motherfuckers acting like this is new? Hasn't DHP always been universal as far as their reach, as far as their bounds? They've never been stagnant or stale. They've never been limited or relegated to one particular corner of the boxing world. They have fought everywhere. Why the fuck are these niggas crying as if ZUFFA being charted upon now as new territory is something, just catastrophic out here? What the fuck is the dramatics about, ladies and gentlemen? You know this man never stayed in one goddamn place. What did the legendary Bill Haney tell these fucking cowards? The earth is our turf. That includes every goddamn thing. That is I'm not only talking about where I fight, continent after continent after continent. Yes, I'm going to conquer that goddamn continent, and I'm going to conquer that one too, and I'm going to come back home, and I'm going to go wherever the fuck I want to go. Yes, but that also includes business ventures, brothers and sisters. The earth is their turf there too. This is why you got to put respect on DHP's name. They're not going to be limited or castigated, for being universal in their ventures. In their, the mentality is all encompassing, brothers and sisters. When they say the earth is their turf, you can see that in action. No, I will not. This is exactly why they made it their priority, made it their resounding goal to remain independent from jump so that they can do what it is that they want and how to move according to what that want is. Whatever the trajectory is, they move according to that. It's so that they won't be stifled. It's so that they won't be made stagnant and stale and idle in their pursuits. It's a high level game of chess at hand here, brothers and sisters. And so I'm absolutely astounded by, you know, the complaints that I hear going around, these sassy ass suckers out here complaining on some bitch made time. How the hell are you mad at a man that is able, you know, to have mobility within the sport in every degree and to, you know, to every capacity? Shouldn't we be inspiring that from the fighters that we say that we back and support? How could you not back that? How could you not back that? Look where his independence has gotten him, brothers and sisters. One of the most acclaimed fighters in all of the sport, and this man is only 27 years old. Accomplished great things at what, 21, 22, 23 years old. Far surpassed even people much, much older than him by a decade older than him. Far more accomplished than a lot of these people. Why aren't we saluting the independence that we are seeing? And so that I find it very laughable that people are now trying to dissuade from the fact that this is legacy in motion, what he is doing here. Okay. And I think that there's a fixation upon the money that he is being offered, or, you know, because of course they don't know whatever that is, right? But whatever he is getting is owed to him, in my view. But even despite the money, right? Isn't this a opening of doors for other people? I don't think people realize that, you know, there are young fighters that will be coming up behind the young king. Maybe people are so fixated on the fact that this is his era, or the fact that, you know, there's a new face or whatever, and you know, you know, his successes and stuff like that. They forget that he is an example, a living example to the beautiful young brothers coming up behind him. In other words, brothers and sisters, it is imperative that what the young king is exemplifying be observed. Because for the next generation coming up, let's say, you know, it's my posit that we should have, instead of one DHP, you know, one person of DHP's mindset like we have now, that there are, you know, 7 next time in the next era, and then 17 in the era after that, and then 70, and then, you know, a whole, and, you know, and then everybody is on the trajectory to maintain independence within this sport, however it unfolds for them, but that they can have the autonomy to make the decisions for themselves as fighters. That's my hope for the beautiful brothers coming up. That really is my hope. And I don't think people are, I think people are just so myopic in their views. You know, they just have a very, very limited myopic view of things. Everything is a fixation on the fad. Everything is so centralized on the now. And these people say that they love boxing, but they're not thinking about the future of the sport. They're not understanding how the moves that are being made and exhibited by these young fighters are being watched by babies that are 6 years old and in the gym, that are being watched by somebody's son that's 15 years old in the gym and saying, I want to be like that. Listen, you know, Sugar Ray was once a goddamn, you know, 18, 19-year-old. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't always the GOAT. He had whoever he was looking up to. Ali was a young pup at a time looking up to Ray Robinson and all of the GOATs that he admired, right? We just get fixated on what we think is the end product, but there is a beginning. Everybody has to have a precedent. And so I think that what DHP is doing right now is a precedent, and it's one that should be respected, if nothing else. Everybody's not entitled or not making the imposition that everybody should be, you know, throwing flowers at that man's feet. That's not at all what I'm trying to get across. But what I'm saying is that his stature and the position that he holds currently in what he is doing is worthy of observation and reconnaissance, and you know, holding up a light to say, okay, well, how can we implement this formula or take from this formula to learn from, particularly for elite Black fighters, brothers and sisters? Because you know that's where my central passion is always going to be, with my people. You get me? I think hold on, you guys. I had a text that just absolutely like I have to like keep going. Somebody is diabolically texting me. Anyway, I think I I got completely thrown off, you guys. Excuse me. Somebody is being so evil, and I'm not. I'm just going to move on. Anyway, I think that's something to be studied, and something to celebrate because it is worthy of taking note of. And I think like the opportunity that and the fact that Devin is moving onto this particular platform is only going to allow for a lot more lucrative business deals to be made possible, particularly for elite Black fighters. If you guys get where I'm going with that, okay. And so, in other words, brothers and sisters, to me, this new venture with ZUFFA is yet another layer and another level of defense and offense being exhibited by DHP against the machine. You get me? And it's imperative, right? Because if we want equality for our elite Black fighters, okay, for our Black warriors as a whole, right? That we need people to stand antithetically to that power system that poses an imposition on their progress and mobility. Am I lying or no, you guys? You tell me. Isn't that the goal? Because I always want to take it outside of the realm of mere entertainment. And I like to largen the scope. I like to expand the view on things. Yes, I am showing up as a fan. Yes, I'm a diehard. Absolutely. You know what I mean? And I enjoy the entertainment of boxing. I love boxing, right? But that my investment in the sport also bleeds into the fighters that I support of integrity. And I want to see their well-being lived out. I don't like the idea of them being enslaved by, let's say, a particular promotional company where they cannot express their diversity as athletes, where they cannot showcase their business acumen. I just feel like I feel like these types of parameters and limitations are blockades to progress, and I don't think that we have to necessarily continue watering a system that has historically hindered our people. You get what I'm saying? And so that's why another reason why I look at DHP as a wonderful standard that should be respected, because I want these beautiful young brothers to expand. I want them to expand. I want them to do it better than Ali did it. I want them to do it better than Hagler did it, better than all of these wonderful legends and giants that we love and support have done it. The opportunity is there. We are in such a lucrative time of this sport. Money that these young brothers are making, the GOAT's never seen. You get me? You guys know me. Charlie Burley is probably one of my favorite, probably my favorite of the Black murderers row is Charlie Burley. I love Charlie Burley. For me, I always go back and forth in my mind on who's the GOAT, he or Sugar Ray, because I have, of course, affection for. I always interchange the number one spot. But the young brother, beautiful brother, was on his knees praying, brothers and sisters, for a title shot, let alone to be able to look at. Now, imagine Charlie Burley, being given, the breath of life and coming to see somebody like Young King, big step and 10 toes with his own business, with his own promotional company, being able to have the fluidity to not be relegated to a singular stature of whatever have you. He would be full of flowers. His mind would be sprouting all types of flowers because he would be so happy. Like, wow, look at I'm saying? Look, imagine him looking at Shakur Stevenson and the money that this man has been. The GOATs didn't have access to that, brothers and sisters. You understand? And so it should be taken further every generation, every decade or so. Somebody should take the torch and go further and further and further along. You understand? So, I think it's a wonderful game of offense and defense that DHP is playing by undertaking, this particular venture that they are on. I think it's absolutely wonderful. I think that this is also the reason why we have seen some sour faces in boxing, because here again is his independence being thoroughly expressed, brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? So that there is a backlash and an outcry to his mobility, if that makes sense. You understand? So I just found that to be, of interesting note for us to be cognizant of, those of us in the boxing conscious spaces. You understand? Is that these people are sour about that. This is a part of their being sour about this new venture. It has nothing to do with the lame ass excuse or alibi that they have. Or whoa, how's he going to be able to make the good fights if he goes to ZUFFA? He's not going to be able to fight anybody. Or what about the belts? And there's all these types of false ass, contrived ass excuses are really just a basis of expressing their disapproval of the fact that he is mobile enough and has the brain enough to be able to make such a venture, make such a decision. Oop, let me grab my charger. Hold on. I always forget to charge my there we go. There we go. So that interesting stuff. So that, it, like I said, it appears to be that people have become quite quaint with DHP being relegated as a scapegoat. I cannot stress that enough, brothers and sisters. That's another dynamic and another layer to this, is that they have been so comfortable with him being in one position. Okay, he only has to answer to this promotional company. He only should do this with this promotional company. He only should do that. All of these types of stipulations or whatever have you, right? And here he is once again showing them just why, DHP says that the earth is their turf, right? Another platform, another basis for him to expand and rise and, claim his own opportunities, right? Devin has been the one that they could exact that attack on, because he is so free as opposed to everybody else. This is why they lash out on him. He's the one that they can try their best to keep from the table, even though they know they can't keep no damn DHP from the table, right? But as far as like the general populace discourse, right? Devin should be kept away from. We heard people over the past few months, oh, Devin should be kept away from a fight with Rolly Romero, for example, right? Don't let Devin Haney get close to Tank Davis. Purple Pain is going to beat him anyway, right? So that we always see that Devin is always being placed in a position among the general discourse that he ought to be kept away from the legacy that they know is absolutely paramount for him to achieve. Ain't that interesting? Ain't that interesting, brothers and sisters? Right? And so we got a whole rallying of the public. There's a whole public discourse, a whole round table around what Devin ought not to be having access to, right? And then we have a whole media propaganda wheel pumping out all types of information to inculcate that idea, right? To reinforce that idea into the public, right? And of course, we see it persisting to this very day. We see it persisting to this very day. So that Devin's presence in the sport has served up until this point and satiated up until this point a toxic, this is what I call it, a toxic, love-hate relationship. That's what his presence has served to me for these particular sect of people in boxing, a love-hate dance with Devin. Oh, I need to see what he is doing at all times, but I don't want to see him progressing in any particular way. But I have to see him so that I can talk about him, so that I can propagandize him, so that I can marginalize him, so that I can disparage him, so forth, etc. If you guys get what I mean. So that it's that toxic, type of relationship. And I'm talking about from the example. Is that my beautiful sis? Hey, beautiful sis. What's up to my beautiful sis? Lovely to see my sis. Yeah, so you know what I'm saying? That's that type of love-hate dance that they are doing. And I'm saying that it is on the executive level. I have to reiterate that. It's on the executive level, brothers and sisters, down to the media, down to the fanship. It is from top to bottom. This toxic ass, love-hate relationship that is going on and that is expressed particularly and uniquely for Devin Haney in a way that no other fighter in the sport is subjected to. Okay, he is the one that they have used. And real talk, yeah, Devin is the one that they have used to build up the mythologies around other fighters. They did it off the back of Devin, the supposition around Devin, right? So that his being stigmatized allowed for the building up of the mythology around other fighters, the preferred fighters, if you will, fighters that they wanted to build up and use, right? To smite the progress of Devin, to diminish it was like they had, it's like a yin and a yang. They have one that they upheld, and Devin was the one chastised in order to uphold the other one, if that makes sense. You guys get what I'm talking about, right? So that they would use other fighters in effort to not only say, okay, well, this is a talented fighter, because let's say that fighter very well may be, just like, let's say Purple Pain, for example, right? It's a fighter that everybody found to be beloved, if you will, and that we liked and that we wanted to see, and we liked Tank Davis and stuff like that, right? But that Devin was necessary to land-based. Whenever any type of comparative dialogue was happening, there was always a contrast. In other words, they needed Devin as a contrasting figure to whatever it was that they wanted to uphold and have shine as some type of diamond, if you will. You guys get where I'm going with that? Okay. So that they would build and use them up in order to smite and diminish that Devin was amassing all of this type of great accomplishments for himself, to take away from the fact that all of the achievements that he was claiming and assuming and amassing. Purple Pain served as a primary advisory, brothers and sisters. Okay, not only because he was formidable as an opponent and held a whole bunch of potential that we all wanted to see and that we all wanted to nurture within him, because there was a time where we were very much like that. I say many people still are. A lot of people still believe in Purple Pain Davis, right? I have no longer any investment in Purple Pain, but I know that I once did, and I know that I was absolutely 10 toes with him, unquestionably, right? So that, yeah, he was a formidable opponent, latent with potential at a particular time. You know what I'm saying? Early on in those years, let's say 3 to 5 years ago, whatever have you, right? He's a fighter, absolutely, that we all wanted to see Devin Haney face. His name was synonymous with Devin's. Low-key, it still is, even though he's, to me, a retired fighter pretty much. But his name, Purple Pain, is still thrown up in the mix, right? We can't help but to say, well, if you could make a fight with the Young King, who would it be? I still say Purple Pain goddamn Davis, even though I'm not necessarily, totally invested in him in the way that I was. That's still, like, if I had my way, I would get that fight before they retire. I want to see Purple Pain and Devin Haney. You know what I mean? So that it had that allure to it. So that you had the beloved Purple Pain, but he was the antithesis of Devin Haney. He was the street guy. He was the one that was cool. He was the one that they said that they told you sold. He's the one, the money man, even though he, Devin always made more money than him, but that's a whole nother story, whatever have you. But that he was propped up. You get me? He was the chosen one. He was the golden beloved one, as opposed to the black sheep, who was Devin. And Devin was the black sheep because he was creating his own mold, the independent way. That's why he was the black sheep and treated as such, right? And so that Purple Pain had all of the adulation, all of the admiration of the boxing public, even though he never had to prove himself among the top competitors in the sport. Unlike the Young King, you know what I'm saying, had to go and get his titles. He had to go get his straps. He had to go claim undisputed. You understand? He had to call out the names and try to work endlessly to get the names. I mean, brothers and sisters, the Young King goddamn Dev has been calling for the goddamn top of the top since he was 20 years old. 20 years old. 19 goddamn 20 years old. I want to face this person. I want to face that person. He been goddamn calling on Macheco since he was a baby. You know what I mean? What you see this Young King doing now is not new. He was a baby doing this. 20 goddamn years old. Saying, I want to fight this person. He was always assured in what he wanted to do. He was always assured in attaining and amassing legacy. What he is doing now is what he has always done. He's just a grown goddamn man doing it with a whole lot more goddamn purpose, because he is mature as a businessman and he's constantly maturing as a fighter. But that he has always had clear eyes on how it was that he wanted to step in this sport, business-wise and as far as his warriorship. Tank goddamn Davis did not have to go out there and do it with the most formidable of his contemporaries. He veered away from that, but it did not stop people from making him the beloved. Ain't that interesting? The title of beloved, brothers and sisters, was simply thrown into the lap of Purple Pain Davis. The mythology. That's why I use that term mythology, because that's really what it was. It was a mythology, a lore created around Purple Pain Davis. Okay? And it was such that, it protected Purple Pain Davis from having to get in there and compete. It protected him from having to do that. That lore and that mythology allowed for him to be placated by the boxing public. It gave him the entitlement to say, I don't have to go in there and fight the likes of E.T. Stevenson. I ain't got to get in there and fight that young king because they love me, because I sell such and such pay-per-views, because I wear such and such bag that the same bag that my goddamn girlfriend has, because I got my cornrows in today with the baby hairs all neat and tucked up. You know what I'm saying? He had the leisure to do that. He was allotted that privilege, brothers and sisters. It was allotted to him. It was not earned because he didn't get in that battlefield and take it. He didn't. I don't give a goddamn how much we have loved Purple Pain Davis, how many people still love Purple Pain goddamn Davis. It was allotted to him. He did not earn it because he didn't go take it and get it popping with the best. Devin was always up for that challenge. There was never a time where he wasn't on that type of time. And he's still on that type of time, even despite all the accreditation he's assumed for himself at this point. And even in the most lucrative deal of his career, boxing career, he's facing, gaining some substantial gargantuan amounts of money, brothers and sisters. He's still on goddamn demon time. If you get where I'm going. All right. But that mythology around Purple Pain, for example, brothers and sisters, allowed him to sit comfortably, in other words. He just got to ride that mythology, and he also got to ride the hate train that was being propagandized about and around DHP. That's also how Purple Pain got off at that time. Okay? He got off on being able to ride the hate train that was beginning to spin unrelentingly about Devin Haney, who was his adversary, his antithesis. Okay? Same thing with goddamn E.T. Stevenson. E.T. goddamn Stevenson, you know what I'm saying, was much more accredited as far as his accomplishments than Purple Pain, but he also was used as a tool to smite Devin, brothers and sisters. Right? And a lot of that he is benefiting off of for the first time right now at this particular juncture of his career, after having come off that victory against Teofimo Lopez. He all of a sudden he is being allotted some degree and some measure of privilege, right? And he's absolutely basking in it, brothers and sisters. He is a willing participant and contributor to the bullshit. Let's just look at it this way. Nobody could explain this to me or make it make sense to me how E.T. Stevenson was goddamn, what was he put on that pound for pound, brothers and sisters? Wasn't it something ridiculous? Like number 3 or number 5? One of those goddamn, E.T. Stevenson was damn top 5 in the damn pound for pound list for beating the man that got beat by the man that Devin whooped twice and became undisputed against brothers and sisters, the youngest undisputed champion in the 4-belt history. Talk to me nice. Talk to me nice. How the hell is E.T. Stevenson top 5 pound for pound, brothers and sisters? For beating up a motherfucker that Dev cleaned up 3 goddamn years ago. So that this is what I want to paint for you, brothers and sisters, okay? These little exemplifications here are part and parcel of the larger body politic as far as the moves made to stir some level of dissent, to impose some level of a blockade, of a deterrent as it pertains to DHP. Now that this venture is underway with ZUFFA, okay, I have heard some sentiments and some excuses and all types of goddamn folly across social media and stuff like that, as I'm sure the good family has as well. That's just, going around suggesting that this is a bad move because, like I said, how will the fights get made and all this, nonsensical excuse. How are you going to make the fights? How is Devin going to make the fights? Oh, ZUFFA. Now they want to turn their nose up at ZUFFA. Nobody had any goddamn, wherewithal or give a damn about ZUFFA. Now all of a sudden they want to just, ZUFFA's just this, this bad move. How are the fights going to get made? Right? Nobody was asking those goddamn questions a month ago, brothers and sisters. Right? All of a sudden they want to ask it now. Anyway, all of a sudden niggas are goddamn concerned about Devin making, get this, brothers and sisters, get this. All of a sudden these fucking sassy suckers are out here concerned about how the young king is going to make legacy fights. Ain't this some shit? Let me take a sip of my damn water. Take a sip of that water. Ain't this some bullshit, ladies and gentlemen? These sassy ass, coward ass goddamn suckers, these marks, these busters, all of a sudden are now so perplexed about what Devin's legacy is going to be concerning the quote unquote big fight. How are we going to get the big fights? Ooh, I want to see him fight such and such. When he going to do this? How is ZUFFA going to, be in a position on getting these fights materialized, so forth and etc. Right? All of a sudden, out of goddamn thin air. Weren't these the same fucking simps who were screaming that Devin will get beat any goddamn way? That he did not stand a chance to win against the likes of E.T. Stevenson or Boots Ennis or Purple Pain or this person or goddamn that person? Didn't they say Devin didn't have a goddamn shot in hell? Didn't they call that man pillow-fisted? Brothers and sisters, talk to me nice, please. Y'all let me know if I'm tripping. Because sometimes people think Sugar Free is on fire too much. You tell me. You tell me if I'm bugging. Didn't they say that he ought to stay away from this person, this person, goddamn that person? But now we're concerned about making these fights all of a sudden. All the while, for I don't know how many goddamn years, y'all were telling me why he was not worthy of even standing in front of a Purple Pain or a goddamn E.T. Stevenson. Fuck out of here, y'all, with that bullshit. These people are crazy. The waywardness of these cowards is diabolical. Straight up suckers. Straight up suckers, y'all. It's disgusting. It's absolutely revolting and abhorrent to me. Whenever I see it, I be sitting back amazed. Like, who the fuck raised these niggas that's talking like this? Who raised y'all? Just as sassy as it gets as far as the mentality. How do you guys even stand next to women in the street? Real talk. No heart. From a lot of these characters out here online. Spineless, heartless degenerates. Okay? All of a sudden, you want Dev to overextend himself. You want Devin to put and it has always been that way. It's always Devin that has to make the overemphasis upon, something, anything. He has to do the hard work. It is young King that has to do the heavy lift. He has to make the first move. He has to be the initiator. He got to be the pastor. He got to be the garbage man. He got to be the goddamn mailman. He got to do every goddamn thing in order to get up, some type of ball rolling, in order to show interest. Nobody else has to have gusto. Nobody else has to be galvanized about fighting the best. Only young King. Young King and Young King alone has to be the one galvanized and incited about legacy and making the biggest and best fights. with the elite of the elite. Only him. He's the only one given that stipulation. But while they're asking Devin, well, what's going to happen to the fights if you go to ZUFFA? Why is nobody turning around and asking what the fuck goddamn Richard Hitchinson is going to do? Anybody asking what Richard Hitchens is going to goddamn do with all this damn ducking and evading? Everybody from Matthias to E.T. Stevenson to Devin and goddamn, list after goddamn list. Anybody turning to Hitchinson and asking what he is going to do? Has anybody turned to goddamn E.T. Stevenson and asked what he intends to do at 140, if he intends to stay there? Where these questions about legacy and big fights being made and what, possible impasses are going to be, a part of the equation when it comes to E.T. Stevenson? Anybody going up to goddamn Gary Russell as of late, brothers and sisters, asking him to motherfucking shit or get off the goddamn pot at 140? What's going on here? I be tired of this stuff, y'all. It's so imbecilic and so infantile on every level that I just feel like, yo, this can't be adults that are having this type of discourse. These got to be motherfucking grade schoolers out here because the mentality is at an all-time deficit. The reasoning is non-existent. Dev got to do every goddamn thing to overextend, overexert himself to get things done. He got to get the things done. Everybody else is on fucking vacation, sipping lemonade, getting their goddamn pinky toe sucked. What's going on here? Mind you, brothers and sisters, this all of a sudden, contrived concern about what he's going to do and how ZUFFA will pose an imposition to making these quote unquote big fights that they quote unquote want to see. They acted like this is not the same goddamn brother that has been vying for his entire career for the big fights. As aforementioned, ladies and gentlemen, this is you talking about young King. You're not talking about no goddamn E.T. Stevenson. You're not talking about nobody goddamn else. This is young King. All he has ever done, I cannot stress that enough, is want to align with the most notable, the most elite within the sport of boxing, because he believed that he can beat every last one of them. Every one of them. He has never shied away or tucked his tail from competition. They circumvented him. Despite his attempts, however numerous they may have been, they circumvented him. Okay? The very fights that these cowardly fans censured Devin for wanting, brothers and sisters, they censured Devin for wanting those big fights. There was this time they censured Devin for calling the name of Lomachenko. They censured Devin for wanting Teofimo Lopez. They lambasted the young King for calling out Purple Pain goddamn Davis. They castigated the young King for saying that he wants Shakur Stevenson's head on a goddamn plate. Now you telling me, oh, well, what's going to happen to the big fights when they fucking criticized him for being 10 toes about winning the fucking fights in the first place for nearly a fucking decade? Get that sucker shit out of my face. They tried to censure and berate Devin for wanting to make those fucking big fights possible for nearly a decade. Oh, he should be shut out. Oh, keep him away. Oh, don't give him a title shot. Don't let him unify. He doesn't sell. He's a runner, etc., so forth, etc. But all of a sudden now ZUFFA is your reason to say, oh, well, he's not going to make the big fights. As if these fucking cowards wanted him to have these big fights in the first place. They did not want Devin to have access to making those fights, and they co-signed the cowardice of of those fighters ducking and evading him because what? They know that he would fucking kick their favorites' asses. That's why they co-signed the circumventing around Devin Haney. Because they know that once he got in that ring with him, he'd make every single one of them look just like how he had Brian Norman looking. Shout out to Brian Norman, no disrespect to him. But they know that Devin will make an example of their favorites just the same way. That's why they were okay with the imbecilic and juvenile mentality that would have suggested that he be kept removed from fighting those best fighters and being removed from having the opportunity, to get those fights that actually matter solidified. They co-signed that. They co-signed him staying away from those fights. They co-signed all of the antics and all of the propaganda that created the environment that would keep him purposely away from solidifying those fights. As we see now, we don't even have to go back the past decade. We could just look within a few months at what happened to him in the unification at 147 against Rolly Retardo. So now that he is signed with ZUFFA, brothers and sisters, these same fucking suckers are assuming that Young King is somehow limiting himself. That's the going theme now. That's the lore that these people are putting out. Oh, Devin Haney is limiting himself. How is he going to go to ZUFFA? How is he going to get fights? Like it's just an absolute impossible feat for him to get fights now that he is with ZUFFA. Oh, how is he going to reach his potential? Oh, doesn't he care about legacy, so forth and so on? What is going on, brothers and sisters? Has anybody been able to do the math on that? Because I sure as hell haven't. You know why? Because the fucking math ain't goddamn mathing on the logic. The logic behind it is no. Okay? Now, this deal, of course, stands to be the biggest of his career, which is wonderful. Okay? It says a lot, considering that he's always been a heavy hitter. As far as the business side of things, so that now that he has access to something even more lucrative and substantial is beautiful, right? And I support that. And there is a supposition going around that he's running into some sort of wall because of this. I don't know what wall these people are acting like is all of a sudden erected, now because of the ZUFFA deal. It's like, what wall? This man has I mean, if he doesn't have more freedom with this deal, I don't know how much more access this man can be given with the ZUFFA contract. He literally stands to be able to have the mobility that even exceeds beyond where he's been as far as his ability to be mobile in boxing. You understand? I don't think that people are taking into context that ZUFFA is a new, pretty much a venture in and of itself, right? The aspect of ZUFFA is new. And that because of its freshness in, as far as the landscape, within the landscape of boxing, because it is fresh, it's a new venture, it's an open venture, there is a availability that the ZUFFA platform is willing to extend, brothers and sisters, to the fighters of note that they sign, because they want to expand the business. They want to grow the business. And so this is the opportune time for people like the Young King and whoever else, has signed recently, and whoever, let's say, will continue to, do so. This is the perfect time. This is the opportune time for them to get in where they can fit in, because it is so new, because it's fresh. It's like soil, right? It's fertile. Everything is fecundating in this climate. Everything is abundant. Everything is rich. Everything is new. Right? And so it's a lot of life to be had here. There's room to play. You understand? Because it hasn't been constricted yet. Okay. And the availability of whatever executives, I know that Turkey is involved with this, the ZUFFA. But that, this access, this availability, because of its newness, stands to be and play a beneficial role for the smart fighter who signs on. You know what I mean? And we know that Devin and DHP is, a powerhouse. Okay. We know that they have a prowess for business. We know that they are very, very shrewd and savvy about their business. And so the things that they're going to be able to negotiate here, or the possibility of that being on the table, at least for that type of discourse, as far as his growth and what he wants to do, and if he'll stay, and if he doesn't want to stay, or if he just wants to, keep the relationship going for future. You know what I'm saying? It really is sky's the limit on how he can play. You understand? Which means that if they have a centerpiece for ZUFFA, let's say Devin, because he's the hugest name that they could have ever had, right? Sign on to them. Like, this is a crazy ass move on their part as far as how they are going to benefit from having DHP on their team. You get me? Right? And so in having somebody like Young King spearhead this platform and stuff like that, wonderful things on the horizon to be made from that, in my view. Okay, so that this contrived wall that people are acting like is at stake here with the signing of Devin to ZUFFA is diabolical. It's just, I don't even know the word. I don't even know if diabolical could be used. It's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. There is no more of a wall that Devin can have here at ZUFFA than that would exceed the one that he's been forced to deal with all these fucking sucker ass promotional companies that he's been dealing with for the past decade. Okay? He not coming across any more of a goddamn wall here than he had to deal with previously with the likes of motherfucking Eddie the Scammer and goddamn Bob Arum, the motherfucking crypt keeper, etc., etc., etc. Right? So get the hell out my face. If you guys weren't concerned with a wall being brought up, deliberately to keep him out, to shut him out of his own progression as a fighter and as a businessman, then don't act like you all of a sudden overnight concerned about any potential wall that you are, imagining that ZUFFA will impose upon him. You get me? It's crazy work, you guys, And in my view, Devin Haney might as well get paid. He might as well have a new system to work with, because obviously the old was only set out to thwart his mobility. Why wouldn't he entertain a new venture, ladies and gentlemen? Especially after dealing so endlessly with the buffoonery and the inanity of being shut out deliberately by the executives, by the executive structure. You understand? Let him go ahead and go share his talents on a whole nother level of a global platform, because of course he would be fighting on Netflix. The ZUFFA is partnered with Netflix. They are partnered with Paramount. They have, all types of, because they're new, and they have obviously a lot of money, they can tap into whole other types of markets that all the fighters will have access to. Why wouldn't he entertain something like that, you guys? It doesn't seem like there are any limitations as of yet as far as ZUFFA. And the freshness that they have is, of course, something that they're going to have to further develop and strengthen, right? Because it is so fresh. But it's also that freshness that stands to allow him a level of access and mobility and range that he couldn't possibly exercise, apparently, with the likes of DAZN and with the likes of the other partnerships. So I think it's interesting that he will have a further reach as far as a global audience. He will have access to capital that he could easily, you know what I'm saying? And let's talk about the access of capital, because my interest in that is not so much as what he gets to take home, right? That's for him and his babies and his family to enjoy. That's not really where my interest lies. When I speak about the gargantuan amounts of capital, what my interest is what he will be able to play with as it pertains to making the significant fights that we want to see. That's where my interest in the capital is. That's where the lucrative, my interest in the lucrative funds go into. It's like, well, what is he going to be able to do? Because if he's making this type of money, obviously, the money that's going to be on the table as far as what stands to be offered to other fighters is also going to increase dramatically. Facts or no? Facts or no? If he has all of this access to money, of course, ZUFFA is going to want to invest in wonderful, significant, meaningful, big fights, which means that because they want that on their platform, they're willing to pay for that, brothers and sisters. So in effect, what Devin's signing with ZUFFA has done, fuck what he gets to goddamn take home, right? But what he has done is absolutely render any and all excuses 1000% obsolete as far as making the fights, brothers and sisters, making the big fights. The more money on the table, the larger the platform. He got access to goddamn Netflix, Paramount, a whole new viewership across the globe on a whole nother level, brothers and sisters. I'm talking well beyond goddamn ESPN, because the deal encompasses a whole viewership that had nothing to do with boxing, but now we'll have access to watching Young King box and whoever else is going to be promoted across ZUFFA. A whole nother viewership, brothers and sisters. It's absolutely a win-win-win across the board. Essentially, ladies and gentlemen, the excuses, in other words, the excuses surrounding the conversation about why fighters won't step up to the plate to fight him, he has absolutely demolished. Do you get what I'm saying? He has absolutely obliterated any potential cop-out, any, superfluous alibi, any type of artificial pretext, whatever. He absolutely erased any excuse that could be made to not fight him, considering how substantial this deal is with ZUFFA, because he has access to wealth that is well beyond anything that DAZN was willing to offer somebody, or the PBC was willing to offer somebody with a fuckery of the goddamn, go find your own 50% nonsense, like the goddamn Rolly Romero was saying. Excuse me? All of that shit is rendered obsolete now. Because what can the excuse be had at this particular point, people? With that type of money and that type of global access extended and offered in a deal. Every excuse has been obliterated and dismantled. And that's the power move that I am interested in as far as his partnership and signing with ZUFFA. It's the excuses that will not be allowed to be had anymore. Because real talk, you guys, if these niggas continue ducking, let's say Devin Haney, wants to fight a Shakur Stevenson, right? Because I heard some rumblings throughout the week that people were saying, oh, well, there's a possibility that Shakur Stevenson may be on the table, right? That they would send an offer. I heard some rumblings of that across social media. Let's say that were the case, right? And Dev wanted to present E.T. Stevenson with another offer. What will be E.T. Stevenson's excuse this time, brothers and sisters, with this type of backing and this type of capital on the table from a willing platform that is willing to extend, let's say, whatever offer that will double or even possibly triple anything that Core has seen previously in his career? What will really be E.T. Stevenson's excuse, ladies and gentlemen? Because trust and believe, there will be an excuse. I don't believe E.T. Stevenson will ever take up the challenge to face the Young King. That's just me. I want that, because just like Purple Pain is a fight that I wanted, if I had my way, I would see Purple Pain and Young King get it in. But my other fight is only the three for me. Everything else is just icing on the cake as far as Young King. But those two, I wanted to see E.T. Stevenson and Purple Pain get it popping with the Young King before they retire, right? So that if E.T. Stevenson is offered something, I doubt that he will take it. But it's like, I don't see a reason for him not to, considering all of the benefits. It's only a benefit. Like I said, it's only a win-win-win with this situation. Should he be offered something while Devin is, signed to ZUFFA, right? For however many fights he's going to be signed with them. So that anything that the Young King does from here on out is an augmentation at this point. He doesn't have to do the best, biggest fights that we want to see for motherfuckers that's been ducking him for all of eternity. Real talk, Devin has a beautiful bag. You know what I'm saying? He can really do whatever he wants. Like he could, unify. He can do whatever he wants. He can still call for the best fights of that, which I know he will, because he's a demon. He's a savage type of person. You know what I'm saying? So that I know that he will continue to want the best fighting the best. But honestly, Everything else is just icing on the cake. He has already established a sense of legacy for himself. He has done beautiful things. He has literally broken records, made history with his career moves and with his accolades. So that, let's say, if he just wanted to, fight whoever, but he's not necessarily solely gunning for this or that person particularly, he could very well do that. He could very well do that, and I wouldn't be mad at all. You understand? But of course, I'm a diehard, and so I want to see these fights get made. But I also know that these fights are not solely his responsibility. He has done everything that he can. How the fuck can you expect this man to do even beyond what he has done? He's still trying, right? So that he had all of the ways to try to call people out. He rolled up on you. He put out a goddamn hit list, ladies and gentlemen. This man did everything conceivable under the sun. Everything. And now here he is taking another step further to say, okay, I'm going to partner and have a huge deal with somebody that is, a platform globally, that surpasses everything that has been previously, seen within boxing. I'm going to partner up with them, going to sign with them, where, we're going to have access to capital that's going to be able to provide the opportunity to offer, larger offers to these fighters. If they duck this, then they just some pussies. Straight out, straight up and down, no chaser. Anybody that turns down a fight, let's say if he sends out he starts sending out his offers, these niggas is pussies, period. I don't want to hear nothing about nothing. There is no excuse to be had or made for these fighters if they keep ducking the young king like this. Not with this offer on the table, not with that access, not with that capital behind them. Pussy if they turn it down. They've been pussy to me. I already know what it was. Right? But maybe finally it'll be proven to these sassy ass suckers out here, sitting up here placating and trying to, be delusional in their fanship for their favorites. They will absolutely be exposed for what they are to those people finally, because I've been knew what time it was. They didn't want no problems. They didn't want that heat. They didn't want to get it popping with the young king. Right? So that is what that is. Interesting stuff, you guys. Let me check in with the good family before I move on to some stuff. I wanted to show you guys something. Salute to my queen mama love in the building. She says, standing 10 toes down with the warrior queen, SugarFreeMars. She's been a member for 15 months. The queen mama love, Chiquila Fields. Thank you so much, beautiful queen mama love. Always lovely to see you. I think I got some super chats as well. Let me check. We got the G McCall 10 toes showing some love in the super chat today. He says, cook queen, they can't stop greatness. Absolute facts. Salute to the G. Oh my goodness. My beautiful King BFTB came up in here with some loving. Thank you for the loving. He says, you are amazing. Your powerful voice is perfect. Your lioness presence in the sport is needed. And I'm so proud and happy to listen to you. DHP over everybody. Oh, thank you so much, beautiful King. I really, really appreciate that. That resonates with me very deeply, of course. And whatever voice that I have that you celebrate, King, it's part and parcel of the strength that you exuded, right? Because you inspired me to do this. So, right back at you, right? Just a reflection of the inspiration that you gave me over the years. So infinite blessings to my beautiful King BF. I appreciate you. Big. You already know what it is. And salute to the King Todd French in the building. He says, facts, Sugar Free. The current system is extremely flawed and protected by the individuals trying to keep the status quo that doesn't benefit the boxer. Absolute facts, King Todd. I agree and concur 1000%. Salute to you. And thank you so much for joining. And thank you so much for showing love to the channel. It definitely means a lot. Let's see what the good family. Oh, salute to the King Uncommon, aka Saint Louis in the building. Blessings to you, King. I see you. What did Nug say? He says Dev is ducking, and I got a pair of J's that can turn into Optimus Prime and Megatron. Well, I hear you. Salute to the King Drug Free. He says, scared of the bag. Ain't that some shit? Because that's absolutely what it will prove, King Drug Free. They scared of, and the crazy thing is that the bag is what they say they want. The bag is what they say it's about. We heard E.T. Stevenson numerous times, gasconade about, oh, well, I just want the big, whatever the big fights are going to be, the big money fights, Okay, well, here the fuck you go, nigga, right? Devin Haney is on a whole nother level. I'm saying now with this stuff, if he makes you an offer, it will be without a doubt, the biggest paper you have ever been extended in your career, right? Just like it was back then when he offered him the shot to fight for Undisputed, right? And I could only imagine that it'll at least be double that now. You know what I'm saying? So that if he turns it down now, he's absolutely scared of that work. He wants no problems with the young king. Like I said, it's already been proven to me. It's not anything that has to be proven again to me. I already know what time it is. That if he ducks, what it is, because I've been knew what it was. But it'll be exposed and made absolutely, intelligible for other people who have been denial. That's who it will be exposed to. The people who have been deluded by the fact that, it wasn't that. Uncommon in the chat, he says, I'm low key at the point where I'm like, you know what, Dev? Just get paid crazy bags and go on a bum bashing tour. Fuck it. These dudes ducking and the fans gonna cry anyway. Yeah, I have absolutely reached that resolve in my mind too. Really, whatever it is that he is doing, I know it's going to be done uprightly. You know what I'm saying? So whatever it is that the young king is going, I'm rocking 10 toes because I know that he is a man of integrity. You know what I'm saying? I know that, he's a man who is passionate about the sport and all the things that made me respect him as a fighter. I know that that's something that is just a part of the bedrock of his character. I know that's what he represents. And so, I'm never too much in question about the moves that he makes. And it doesn't change now that he has the opportunity to make some serious, bank with ZUFA. You know what I mean? I have that's of no, never mind, of no consequence to me, because I know at the end of the day, he just wants to be passionate about the sport that he loves, just like I want to be passionate about the sport that I love participating in and watching. So yeah, if he wanted to go ahead and go fight, what does Beautiful King call them? Liam Jenkins or Liam Johnson, then let him do that for, you know what I'm saying? Everybody else goddamn get away with it. You know what I mean? And become beloved and be spoken about and be made to be some, big step or whatever have you. Okay, then Devin can have a few fights where, if nobody is signing up to play ball, then let him go ahead and go do whatever he wants to do. I have no problem with that at all. These people have been so much less, not even a fraction meeting the level of accomplishment that Devin has amassed. And they have been, beloved for all types of folly and inanity and idleness in the sport. So why can't Devin, with all that he's accomplished, have the same leeway to do whatever it was that he wanted to do? Get out of here. You know what I mean? And if he wants the legacy, he's always 10 toes on deck to get that work. But it's always going to be dependent on these suckers out here who are too cowardly to face him. He can't drag these people out of the grave to fight him. You know what I mean? So, interesting stuff. I definitely agree. Salute to the King Eric. He says, yep. Yes, E.T. Stevenson Jones too. That's exactly what I call him, E.T. Stevenson. Okay. The King Uncommon says that PPC scam was one of the craziest things I've ever heard in my life. We want to hire you, but you got to pay yourself. And these haters are so imbecilic. They were just, oh my God. King Uncommon, nothing will, and I really do feel like that went under the, like people really like the larger boxing world. Of course, it's never the conscious family, right? Like our sacred family, okay, with the real ones. But that the outside boxing community, brothers and sisters, they really did let that slide under the rug, right? They didn't say, did you guys notice how nobody held any accountability to Rolly for saying that ridiculous nonsense? They just were so fixated on having Devin painted as the blame as the blaming factor as to why that fight did not materialize. It didn't matter what Rolly said. Rolly could have said, listen, I like pink thongs, okay, that are lace with the high stockings, okay, and I like to drop it like it's hot to myself. You know what I'm saying? He could have said any crazy thing on the airwaves, and they would have said, "Oh wow, he likes to wear pink thongs with the thigh highs." It didn't matter so long as it was something following that smited Devin. Didn't matter what he said. Absolutely diabolical work. They literally said nothing to that man, King Uncommon, and it absolutely was the craziest thing that I've heard in boxing. You go pay yourself now. You hear? Go ahead and go find your own half of the fight so that you can pay you with. But you want this fight, but we ain't paying you. We snatch your guarantee, right from under you, and we switch locations and all of these other blockades that we could throw in here to detract from this fight for being materialized. Nobody said anything about, but Devin is the one that's ducking. Meanwhile, Rolly and Team Rolly over at the PBC are doing everything to not have this fight materialize. It's just, oh my God, you guys. Sometimes I'm so exhausted with boxing that I just, that last antic, this one that you highlighted, King Uncommon, absolutely threw me for a loop. I was like, listen, I don't know how much of this I'm gonna be able to take. Like, it's just crazy, the lengths and the measures, the levels of inanity and imbecility that people are ready to stoop to on within all levels of boxing. When it comes specifically to Devin Haney, there is no low enough when it comes to their, having it out for DHP. It's disgusting, absolutely disgusting. Okay. Let me see what else I wanted. I had something that I wanted to show you guys that would just speak to this. And I just wanted to remind the good family. Hold on, let me put this on the screen. I just wanted to, give a reminder here of this hit list. I just wanted to just pop that up on here. You feel me? Just to remind the good family, that it's nothing new, with Devin Haney. Right? We are coming up on a whole year removed, from when the Young King and DHP have had publicized, exactly what the intention was, right? Exactly who it was. Brothers and sisters, let's do a little ruminating, shall we? Let's do some ruminating. It's been a whole year, damn near, okay? One person in a year, one has answered the call from this hit list. Out of 10 names, brothers and sisters, one person proved themselves to be a warrior. And that's the young Brian Norman. I need you to resonate on the fact of the level of cowardice that is going on within boxing. I need y'all to understand that. Devin Haney did not mince his words. There were no typos in this post. There were no, redactions made to this hit list. Nothing. No tucking of tails. He made it absolutely clear who he wanted. Everybody is who he wanted. Whoever you think is the best, I want him. He doubled down, tripled down, quadrupled down, and came back again. And these suckers still evaded him. He managed to get one person with the heart enough to sign their name on the dotted line and to enter into that squared circle with him. I don't give a damn if Brian Norman lost that goddamn fight. He will always have my respect for that. He will have my respect for that. He took the call. Everybody else on your screen has had a disgusting excuse. disgusting exhibits of ducking, crazy ass excuses, all types of unjustifiable alibis and pretexts as to why, oh, well, Devin, no, well, this just can't, that's not possible, or he's too big, or the rehydration, or I'm moving up, I'm too big, or you told me, at the last minute, or I just don't want to fight him. You just run the gamut on goddamn excuses, brothers and sisters. Run the gamut. Just wanted that to resonate with the brothers and sisters. Now, I want to play this clip because I think that this fixation, when I was speaking about the word fixation and how it is being exemplified within many layers, multifold layers within the boxing world, right? From the executive level all the way down into the fanship. That this interview, this particular clip that I came across, and there was another clip, but I thought that this sufficed, and I wanted to share it with you, that this discussion that Eddie the Scammer was seen having about Devin is just so, and his thoughts on Devin being signed to ZUFFA was pretty interesting, and I thought it was worthy of note. Let's just tap into this, shall we?
You said when you're talking about Devin Haney and it sort of being a bit too expensive to sign him based on how expensive his purse is.
I mean that in the most respectful way. Like, I love Devin, but Devin knows our number.
Yeah.
He's not really interested in that number. Do you know what I mean? And we're not falling out, but if he can get a crazy deal from someone that really needs him or to make a statement, take it, and he will take it. I think he's going to sign for ZUFFA because they'll pay him well over the odds.
Brothers and sisters, Eddie the Scammer has when I was talking about toxic relationship, this is Exhibit A, brothers and sisters. Exhibit A. Eddie the Scammer has a need constantly that when he is in public, to stand in opposition to Devin at all times, wherever and however he doesn't feel that he is the beneficiary of something concerning DHP. He always takes a shot wherever there's an opportunity to do that. And it's interesting to me because, brothers and sisters, Devin Haney was very much what he's doing now with ZUFFA. He was very much in the same position when he stood in partnership with DAZN back in, let's say, 2019, I want to say, right? Around that time. When DAZN was very much, a new thing, and definitely, absolutely new as far as the American landscape was concerned, right? So that Eddie Hearn was on a tour, right? A U.S. tour to promote the death of pay-per-view and stuff like that. And the beautiful King BF, I believe he touched on this as well in one of his lives earlier in the week, right? Where he divulged the same sentiment, because it's true, brothers and sisters. So that the animosity that the Eddie Hearn has for Devin Haney embarking with this ZUFFA, right, being a startup and looking to make its own impact, it just speaks to the ownership, like the toxic ownership that the executive and corporate level and corporate structure within boxing need to maintain over their quote unquote fighters. There is a control aspect that they need to have over you. And the moment that you exude anything that suggests that you will dare to express a level of independence, anything outside of that, anything in contrast to what they want to impose, whatever that imposition is, you being signed to them, you being this to them, you being, relegated to them, that they will speak against that and they will find it as a threat. So that I was absolutely disgusted watching this clip, and there's another clip that I had come across as well. in hearing Eddie the Scammer explicitly censure and castigate the moves of DHP. Let's run it back. Let's run it back from the top, because I want this to really sit within you.
TV. I'm going to take a bit of what you said to them earlier today when you said, when you're talking about Devin Haney and it's sort of being a bit too expensive to sign him based on how expensive his purse is.
I mean that in the most respectful way. Like, I love Devin, but like, Devin knows our number.
Yeah.
He's not really interested in that number.
Now, let's just break that down, brothers and sisters. See, what I think there's a failure to understand when Eddie the Scammer is doing his scamming, okay? What he deliberately bypasses is the fact that Devin Haney is not simply a fighter, right? Devin Haney is an entity. DHP is an entity, okay? So that you cannot offer him, he wants to have it, one size fits all, right? So that he can think he can come to Devin, right? This is what I posit, at least, that he think he can come to Devin with whatever offer is his number that he is saying is his number, right? And it's supposed to be applicable to every fighter that he extends that to. Devin Haney is absolutely, out of that particular conversation and out of that vein, because he is not simply a fighter. You're dealing with a promoter. You understand? And so it's not possible that you could approach him with a quote unquote number that you think will satiate him as a fighter, and you not have to bend and make the accommodations to surround whatever that number is that Devin wants. Do you understand? Let's say even if you didn't meet it, but that you have to consider that Devin Haney is not the run-of-the-mill fighter like these other fighters are. So that your offer is not applicable to him because he is an entity. He's not simply a fighter. Do you get me, brothers and sisters? Right? And so that he wants to push, but the thing is that he wants to inculcate into the gullible public, or the public that is not educated about that per se, or who is not asking that question, outrightly when they hear Eddie the Scammer speaking. They're not thinking about that off top, right? And so it's easy to inculcate the audience with this notion that Devin is all of a sudden money hungry. You understand? So that he wants to tie and attribute the audience's attention to Devin Haney outpricing himself. Now Devin is greedy. So let me paint Devin as being greedy. He knows our number, right? But he doesn't want it. He wants some gargantuan, ridiculous amount of money, right? And so now Devin Haney's obsessed with money. That's the picture that's being painted with that statement, brothers and sisters. He wants to fixate the idea onto this notion that he's contrived up, that Devin Haney is solely focused on the money. He just wants to get paid ridiculous amounts of money and sit back with his feet kicked up and just be entitled to ridiculous amounts of money. It's the most diabolical thing ever. And you guys got to be hip to the game of the technology when it's at work. Let's listen again.
When you're talking about Devin Haney and it's sort of being a bit too expensive to sign him based on how expensive his purse is.
I mean that in the most respectful way. Like, I love Devin, but like, Devin knows our number.
Yeah.
He's not really interested in that number. Do you know what I mean? And we're not falling out, but if he can get a crazy deal from someone that really needs him or to make a statement, take it, and he will take it. I think he's going to sign for ZUFFA because they'll pay him well over the odds, and I won't.
They'll pay him over the odds, and I won't, because now this is Eddie the Scammer scamming his way into your consciousness by painting himself as, I won't, risk the standards of overpaying a fighter, depleting my integrity, depleting my resources, just to overpay somebody who's so greedy and money hungry and has this level of avarice that could never be satiated, right? He has a level of avarice, right? Glutton for money that I could never fulfill. I just won't extend myself to deplete myself. Let ZUFFA be naive enough to do that for Devin, because they're just so hungry and desperate for accreditation to be brought to their brand. Let ZUFFA go ahead and go make that mistake. I won't, because I'm a man of principle. Did you see the game that's being run here, ladies and gentlemen? Let's continue.
Do you know what I mean? So that was what I was talking about by that. I always say to Devin, listen, if you ever want to fight, we're here, but you know what we're going to pay. And he's made a lot of money, so good luck to him.
What would be like, what would he need to do, or who would he need to fight to be able to like make it worth that for you then?
That's the thing. Like Devin in a big, Devin against Ryan Garcia. Devin's got great value, but Devin against just a defence. There's a ceiling to the purse, and he's not interested in that money because he's made a lot of money, and he's right, by the way. I get it, but we'll always be there for each other. But he also knows this is the kind of number that I would pay, and it's probably miles away from what ZUFFA will pay because they're desperate and they need.
Let's run that back, ladies and gentlemen. Very, very poignant part of this interview.
Be there for each other, but he also knows this is the kind of number that I would pay, and it's probably miles away from what ZUFFA will pay because they're desperate and they need talent. So if they can get Devin Haney and pay him double or treble what anyone else is going to pay him.
ZUFFA is desperate because they need talent, and they're desperate and they're just going to pay him because the desperation is so, out of control, right? Because they need to get the talent that they will be dumb enough to invest in Devin Haney, essentially. And he said something of the like in another interview that was very, very telling. I find this revolting on so many levels. Because when Eddie Hearn was out here getting his goddamn over $100 million a year out of $1 billion deal, with DAZN, nobody was saying that he was desperate, for embarking on trying to amass a level of fighters and put on significant fights that he was supposed to do that he never fucking did, right? But nobody was saying that it was an act of desperation on the part of DAZN for dishing out a budget of a goddamn $1 billion, right? Towards making supposed fights that never got materialized. But he wasn't in the act of desperation. DAZN wasn't desperate for looking to amass attention, particularly with the American boxing market. So why is all of a sudden ZUFFA, being seen as this is an act of desperation for wanting to embark upon and build upon their brand, right? Also, I thought it was very interesting that he kind of spoke against himself. I'm not sure if he was privy to the fact that he spoke against himself, but how appetizing does it seem now at this particular point, knowing that there is a platform out there new and budding like ZUFFA, willing to put out substantial amounts of money to talent? How was he speaking light onto the DAZN platform or Matchroom, even by saying that there is a level that you will not go beyond, right? That it's kind of like, well, you're a talent, but over here, we pay you what we want to pay you because we're already number one. We already have the market cornered, essentially. So we won't pay you. We're not willing to meet you and to supply you, with substantial amounts of funds where we are. Isn't that making ZUFFA look more appetizing and appealing to fighters? Let's say fighters who are still signed with their promoters, for example, right? And let's say they're people who are, within 6 months to a year of their contract ending. Would you be interested in you get what I'm saying? Wouldn't you take an interest in raising an eyebrow or two over to the left at ZUFFA, who is looking to sign talent and give you substantial amounts of money and build their accreditation in the sport and to corner and claim a market all their own? He's not making DAZN look appetizing to me, right? He kind of spoke against himself unknowingly to me, in my view, which I thought was interesting. It only made ZUFFA look more appetizing to me, and I'm an onlooker, so I can only imagine as a fighter what I would be thinking. Okay. Interesting stuff. The stance and the disposition. There's more, to the interview, and there's of course the other interviews that you can go on. But if you just look up, online, Eddie Hearn and Devin Haney, ZUFFA, whatever, you'll see myriad little shots that he threw that were very interesting. But as I wanted to paint earlier, this is the machine at work. It's an imperative for them to detract from the progress, first of all, of a competitor, because it's not only Devin Haney that they're going at, but it's imperative and absolutely necessary that they go at ZUFFA, because ZUFFA is a direct you know, a direct threat to them, you know, as a platform, and having their ties and their, you know, access to, you know, make big fights happen, and partnerships with Netflix and all this stuff that would be very, very appealing to a fighter who's looking to broaden their horizons and make some wonderful money on top of that, so that he has to speak antithetically to their progress and to their allure, right? But this is what they call the business of boxing. And even though it seems like everything is so like laser focused on Devin, because he's the only one who is a fighter who is standing, you know, in this hailstorm of independence and all the things that come with that, so that it seems like a heavy load. But I really can't stress enough the fact that I respect that DHP is willing, you know, to take, you know, some hits, and to be able to dodge and weave these hits in real time on the battlefield and respond to the demands that's necessary in real time. Because when they succeed at doing it, as they have been proven to do time and time again via their independence, right? As they continue to succeed, it's only going to open up more doors for them and their success. And it's only going to cause a reverberation, you know, throughout the world, who is taking notice of where you can get, despite all the challenges and things thrown in your path, of where you can be if you stay the course. You get me? And so the steadfastness of DHP is absolutely paramount. And, you know, I just wanted to play the clip of, you know, this detracting that we see from Eddie Hearn doing, just as a you know, as a vivid picture of, you know, how they go about propagandizing the mobility of DHP, the independence in general. Brothers and sisters, DHP is the standard right now for this type of dialogue, because he is the only one, he is the sole one, you know, embarking on this type of time, as far as being a man standing on his own too, you know, with his own promotional company. So that he is, of course, he's going to be the focus. Brothers and sisters, do not be mistaken. You know, what these suits are talking to, and what the establishment and what the machine of boxing is speaking to, is every independent Black elite fighter who stands to do this. They're just looking at Devin because he's the only one on the battlefield. But trust and believe, they are not simply talking to Devin with this type of output. You understand? But I think, as far as the ZUFFA deal is concerned, I think it's a wonderful thing for DHP to embark on. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm going to ride with whatever business ventures that he is, you know, aligned, you know, to set up for himself. I know that, you know, whatever impositions will be made on the fights that he wants not being materialized, you can trust and believe that it's just like it has never been on the part of him. It won't be on the part of him now. You know what I'm saying? It'll always and only be on the part of the people who are too fucking puss to compete with him. And they have absolutely no excuse, you know, to run into the arms of now that he has such a huge, grand deal on the table, with such a huge access to a platform, a global platform available to him, and all types of other, I'm sure, things that would be, you know, beneficial for any fighter to partake in who signs up to fight with him. There is absolutely no reason why these fights can't get made moving forward. And it's absolutely going to be interesting to me to see the moves made on the part of these fighters who have been ducking and evading him, right? Hence the goddamn hit list. Okay? Who else is going to be ducking him? If it wasn't enough then, with all the things that he was willing, you know, to give and to do at that particular time over the years, what can be the excuse now that he has upped the ante with such a lucrative deal and such a beneficial and profitable potential deal for his opponents? What can really be the excuse going forward, brothers and sisters, from the fighters on your screen, from any other fighters who are not on this list per se, right? Because we got the major names up here, right? Your TOs, your E.T. Stevensons, your Purple Pains, your Boots Ennis, right? But who else? How long are these people going to evade? Do you understand what I'm saying? And it also clarifies the level of crowd chasing that has been done over the past several months, brothers and sisters, right? with your Keyshawn Davises. We can't let his ass off the hook either with the evasions. He evaded just like Rolly did and just like the goddamn rest of them did, right? How much more highlighted are those antics that we have been witnessing, brothers and sisters? Aren't they like twice as highlighted now? Because you know DHP is going to circle that block. That's why they call him Debo. He's going to get on that bike and he's going to circle that block, brothers and sisters. I have no doubt about it. He is not complacent just because he signed a significant deal. He signed a significant deal for a reason. It's to get at the necks of these chumps who have been ducking him. Okay? What are they going to say now? Are they going to say, oh, the money's not big enough? Is that going to be? They can't use that as an excuse. They can't say, oh, well, I just want the biggest and best bags. I just want the biggest money fights. Well, here's your motherfucking opportunity to do that and then some. What's the excuse, brothers and sisters? What is the excuse going to be from these very names on your screens and everybody else in the surrounding, wherever they may be, right? What's going to be the excuse that's going to be had, brothers and sisters? That's what I'm very interested in seeing as the weeks and months progress. Is what new excuse is going to be added to the table as far as these fighters are concerned that have been ducking, disgustingly evading the young king. Right? Let me check in with the good fam and see where we are at before we round things out. Don't want to hold you guys too much longer. Let's see where you guys are at. The pugilist says, Oscar probably can tell you what day it is. Oscar probably can't tell you what day it is. He high, child. He's high and in some fishnet stockings right now. Diabolical work. The King Nug says, Eddie is the real devil. Facts. Absolute facts. King Nugs also posited, he says, tried to kill Undisputed twice, was successful once. Hated the second attempt. Happened without him. Steals from his best fighters. Steals from DAZN. Hates that he can't do that to ZUFFA and to others. Yes, you talk about Eddie the Scammer. Facts. Yep. Salute to the King Rodney in the building. I see the King Rodney. Blessings to you, King. He says, Oscar was yelling ZUFFA is violating the Muhammad Ali rule/law because he knows fighters will get paid and run over to ZUFFA. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, indeed. They got to come up with something to speak against that because, you know, if push, you know, push comes to shove and push ain't got to shove that goddamn hard for the light bulb to go off in these fighters' heads to say, that looks like a good venture for me to partake in with as well, right? I'm trying to get paid and, you know, I want to be on the biggest platform to be able to showcase my talent and rock with the best of them. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what's really good? What's really good? They're going to have to talk against ZUFFA, Oscar, Eddie the Scammer, all of them. They're going to find something up on ZUFFA to dissuade, you know, these fighters from taking a liking to the opportunities presented over there. Yep. I'm just scrolling through here, brothers and sisters. Give me a second. Yes, King Stephen. Absolute technology. Absolute technology going on out here, brothers and sisters. The King Uncommon said, shout out to Brian Norman Jr., a real warrior. Him and Devin are the last of the throwback fighters in their generation. Yeah, and they proved that. They proved that. You know, when those two young warriors collided, you know, last November, it was for the culture. It was for the culture. It was a beautiful fight. It was a beautiful showing. You know what I'm saying? It was full of all types of drama in the lead up to the fight. You know what I'm saying? Things got thick, things got heavy, you know what I mean, between the sides, between the camps. But at the end of the day, they met at the center of that battlefield and put on, you know, for boxing, and gave us something that we were all galvanized about and around. And, you know, isn't that what it should be about? You know what I mean? Why is this holding out, you know, so prevalent in the sport of boxing? It's because these people, these suckers, these chumps don't give a damn about the best fighting the best. They never cared about that. right? And that's a part of the mythology that was created around them as well. Not only that they were larger than life, right? When we talk about the likes of Purple Pain and even E.T. Stevenson, but that a part of that mythology that was around them was that they cared. It was the illusion that they cared about legacy, when in fact they really don't. And that's why their resumes looks the way that it does, right? That's why they refuse to step up and make the significant fights against the elite around them. They had the lore and the mythology that they actually cared about things like fighting the best competition, when it's been proven that they don't. Out of all the young warriors, young King, this is why he's so far ahead of the line. This is why he far exceeds and is so far out accomplishing, his contemporaries, because he actually cares and he actually stands to prove it and work for it and go after it come what may. It stands, the proof is in the pudding. It goes without saying. When you look at the actions and the history, that speaks for them as far as their resumes and as far as their accomplishments are concerned. So I think a whole lot more exposure is going to be on the way as far as this, what the young King is doing with the ZUFFA. And of course, considering, what offers are going to be made now that he has partaken alongside this new venture. It's going to be interesting in the next couple of months, you guys. I'm definitely interested in seeing what the motherfucking lore is going to be next. Okay. Salute to the King J Man. He says, these Devin haters don't even realize how much they ruin boxing. My sentiments exactly, J Man. My sentiments exactly. Couldn't have said it better. Could not have said it better. Salute to the good family. I have to extend grace and extend thanks to you guys for all of you who showed up today, for carving out a little bit of your Sunday evening to spend with me for some good old boxing talk. I can't say enough how appreciative I am of having such a wonderful community of family and friends here that I get to chop it up with. Infinite blessings to you guys. I don't want to hold you guys too much longer. I know it's getting late. I hope you guys have a wonderful week ahead. I hope that you guys enjoyed today's discourse. I definitely enjoyed talking to you guys. Definitely smash that like button on your way out, beautiful people. Don't be afraid to share the content, right? And yeah, we will definitely be back for another one very, very soon. Infinite blessings to you, beautiful people. I will see y'all on the next one. Peace.